I'm about to prove why owning just 0.009 Bitcoin today makes you earlier than 99% of the world will ever be. My Bitcoin average cost $48,208. Current price around $118,000. Every day below my cost basis, that's when everyone called me crazy for not selling. Now look where we are. I'm an ex-financial advisor who helped allocate over 10 million euros across Europe. I built a six-figure portfolio yielding 25% plus in just 3 years. And today, with Bitcoin at around $118,000, people think they are too late. And in this video, I will mathematically prove why they are still wrong about Bitcoin. Let's start with a shocking fact. If every person on Earth wanted just a tiny piece of Bitcoin, there wouldn't be enough. In fact, if you own just 0.009 Bitcoin right now, you already have more than what 99% of the world could ever mathematically own. Welcome back to Psycho Investor, where we don't just invest, we position ourselves for generational wealth while everyone else is sleeping. They called me crazy when I said Bitcoin would hit 100K. They called me psycho when I started stacking sats at every dip. But here's what they don't understand, and what you are about to learn today. The problem is simple. Most people think they are too late to Bitcoin. They see the price at $118,000 and think the opportunity has passed. But they are looking at the wrong metric entirely. They are thinking in dollars when they should be thinking in scarcity. Today I'm going to prove you with hard math, not speculation, not hope you, but pure mathematical reality why owning just under 1 cent of Bitcoin puts you in an elite position that billions of people will never be able to achieve. And I'll show you exactly how to start accumulating before it's truly too late. So let me hit you with some numbers that will melt your brain. There are 8 billion people on this planet. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Do the math. That's 0.00263 Bitcoin per person if distributed equally. That's it. That's all there could ever be. But wait, it gets crazy. We have already lost approximately 4 million Bitcoin forever. Lost keys, dead hard drives, forgotten wallets. So really, we are working with around 17 million Bitcoin. That brings us down to 0.002125 per person. Now factor in the whales. MicroStrategy alone owns over 500,000 Bitcoins. The top 10 companies control 628,932 Bitcoin. That's 3% of the total supply locked away in corporate treasuries. Governments? The US holds 189,000 Bitcoins. China has 194,000 Bitcoins. These aren't getting distributed to you and me. Here's where it gets psycho. There are 60 million millionaires in the world. If each millionaire wanted 1 Bitcoin, there literally isn't enough. They'd get 0.35 Bitcoin each. Maximum. And you think you're late? Look at this. If Bitcoin was divided among all companies worldwide, each would get 0.058 Bitcoin. Among all small businesses in US alone, 0.636 Bitcoin. There are more small businesses in America only than there are total Bitcoin. It isn't speculation. This is math. Cold, hard, beautiful math. Now, let me show you what's happening while retail investors are crying about being too late. MicroStrategy, 500,000 Bitcoin and still buying. Every single week, Michael Saylor is vacuuming up more Bitcoin than most countries own. Tesla sitting on 11,589 Bitcoins. These aren't Dagon traders. These are Fortune 500 companies treating Bitcoin like digital real estate. I spent years as a financial advisor watching institutional money move. When institutions start moving into an asset class, they don't stop. They accumulate quietly, systematically, and relentlessly. And right now, we are seeing the beginning, just the beginning of institutional FOMO. Think about it this way. There are 36.5 billion acres of land on Earth. To own 1 acre costs thousands, sometimes millions, but 1 Bitcoin represents 1,742 acres worth of digital territory. Every Satoshi you own is digital real estate that can never be inflated, never be seized, never be duplicated. When I was advising high net worth clients in Europe, the smart money always moved into scarce assets first. They didn't wait for mainstream adoption. They positioned early and let time do the work. One Bitcoin equals 111 housing units worth of scarcity. There are 2.3 billion housing units globally, but only 21 million Bitcoin. At 0.009 BTC, you own one housing unit. You are not buying currency, you are buying mathematical scarcity that makes Manhattan real estate look abundant. So how do we play this? How does a psycho investor position for what's coming? First, understand the target. 0.009 Bitcoin. Why this number? Because it puts you ahead of what 99% of the world could ever own, a housing unit. At today's prices, that's roughly $1,000. $1,000 to be mathematically wealthier in Bitcoin terms than almost everyone on Earth. For you cautious newcomers watching, start with $50 a week. That's it. In 1 year, you'll have 0.02 Bitcoin. You'll own more than most humans ever will. Ambitious strategist, you should be targeting 0.1 Bitcoin minimum up to 1 BTC and become the whole coiner. That's generational wealth territory. Even at 0.1 Bitcoin, you own what 80 million people would need to share if distributed evenly. Look at my history. I bought at 30K. I bought at 60K. I bought at 80K on the crash. I bought at 100K when everyone said it was the top. Because I understand one thing. The price today is irrelevant compared to the price in 2035. Look at the chart one more time. Every dot is a decision I made to bet on mathematical scarcity over fiat infinity. Every purchase is proof that I practice what I preach. My 48,000 average cost will look like peanuts when Bitcoin hits 500,000. And your 120,000 purchases today, they will look like genius when we are at the million. The question isn't whether Bitcoin is too expensive. The question is, do you want to be showing a chart like this in 2030? Or do you want to be explaining why you waited? 0.009 Bitcoin. That's still just $1,080 at today's prices. That's less than most people spend on an iPhone, but it's enough to put you ahead of 99% of humanity in the new financial system. Let me tell you what's coming and why time is running out faster than you think. Every 4 years, Bitcoin's new supply gets cut in half. The next halving, 2028. After that, new Bitcoin creation drops to 1.5625 per block. By 2032, we are down to 0.78125. Right now, 900 new Bitcoin are created daily. By 2032, just 225. Meanwhile, MicroStrategy alone is buying 1,000 plus Bitcoin weekly. Do you see the problem? The demand is about to massively outstrip new supply. El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender. Bhutan is mining with hydropower. The UK is creating a strategic reserve. When the United States creates its strategic Bitcoin reserve, and they will, it's game over for retail accumulation. Imagine trying to buy gold after central banks started hoarding it. Imagine trying to buy Manhattan real estate in the 1920s. That's where we are with Bitcoin. Right now, today, 1 Bitcoin equals 66 cars worth of scarcity. There are 1.4 billion cars globally. If you can afford a used Honda Civic, you can afford to be a Bitcoin holder, but the window is closing. I've watched this play out in traditional markets for over a decade. The accumulation phase always ends the same way. Suddenly, violently, and with massive regret from those who waited. Now let's talk risks, because I'm psycho, but not stupid. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. My portfolio, a lot of Bitcoin, around 50% of stocks, around 10% in cash. That's aggressive, but it's not reckless. For beginners, start with 5 to 10% of your portfolio. As you understand the technology and the opportunity, you can increase. But even 5% allocation to Bitcoin could be life-changing if the scarcity thesis plays out. Security is paramount. Hardware wallet. Always never leave Bitcoin on exchanges. Write down your seed phrase. Store it in multiple secure locations. This isn't a game. This is your financial future. Volatility will shake you out if you're not prepared. Bitcoin can drop 30% in a day. It's dropped 80% multiple times. But zoom out. Every single person who held Bitcoin for 4+ years is in profit. Every. Single one. Here's my psycho thesis and why I'm betting on my financial future. Bitcoin is digital gold, digital real estate, and digital energy combined. One Bitcoin equals 333 ounces of gold in scarcity terms. It equals 75,000 barrels of oil. It equals 83 kilograms of silver. But unlike gold, you can send Bitcoin anywhere, instantly. Unlike real estate, you can divide it infinitely. Unlike oil, it doesn't degrade or require storage. We are witnessing the monetization of a new asset class. Just like gold monetized over thousands of years, Bitcoin is monetizing in decades, and we're still in the first innings. Conservative case, Bitcoin captures 10% of gold's market cap. It's 500,000 per Bitcoin. Base case, Bitcoin becomes global reserve asset, 1 million per Bitcoin. Psycho case, Bitcoin becomes the base layer of all value transfer, around 10 million per Bitcoin. Tell me another asset with that risk-reward profile. Look, I've shown you the math. I've shown you the scarcity. I've shown you what's happening with institution and governments. Every day you wait, Bitcoin becomes scarcer. Every day you hesitate, another corporation adds to their treasury. Every day you think it's too expensive, another million people wake up to what's happening. 0.009 Bitcoin. Around 1,000 in today's price. That's your target. That's your ticket to greatest wealth transfer in human history. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to inform you. What you do with this information determines whether you are explaining to your grandkids how you saw the opportunity of a lifetime or how you seized it. If this opened your eyes, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Comment below what's stopping you from starting today. Let's discuss in the comments. And remember, stay psycho, stay hungry, and always stack Bitcoin. This is Psycho Investor, signing off.